Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's show of the Terminator, issue 43 and issue 44. And here's my co-host.
Hello, how is everyone? I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas. I know I certainly did. So what did you get in your Christmas stockings then, Adrian? That
Me?
you can tell us about.
Oh, I can have to take a break later.
Oh, very nice. Looks a little bit like this one.
Yes, doesn't it?
So big thank yous to Dave Say. As you can see, but I also got this most wonderful gift, and I'm very appreciative of it. Thank you, Adrian.
That's
Now, I
okay.
really do genuinely appreciate it, because when I come home from work, especially if I've had a tough day, I just want to get on. I just want to do a bit of building. I'll do myself a cup of coffee, and bit of building, cup of coffee with a little snack. What more could I actually ask for? So that is really thoughtful. Also, thanks to some other people, Jason for his present as well. I am building. He's got me the. It's not Lego, but it's the Chinese version of Lego. But he's got me the R2D2, which is absolutely amazing and actually quite a challenge. I've not had a chance to build it yet, but it's coming. So yeah, thank you everybody. Oh, it's put me on big screen. Now I'm scared.
Yeah, sorry. I should have done. Oh, I should have done you
I
quicker
also
than I
managed to
could.
break a printer, so I'm always breaking a printer. But I've had 3 on the go over the weekend, so I call it weekend over the Christmas period. Just as I finished all the prints for something else, one of them broke, and I haven't been able to figure out what's wrong with it. It's just clogging up. So I've got to investigate that. But as you can see, I've still got 2 running. So I'm making some boxes. A project, a sort of personal project I'm doing. I've got loads of new screws I've got to buy. So I'm having to print up more of these screw pots that I make. This ones are for resistors, but making a load, and I've got to put the doors to go in them. Right, so shall we build a Terminator?
Yep.
So this is the issue
Not done.
43, and in this week's issue we will be, there's the contents. So we will start work, or we will be starting work on the pelvis. And the pieces that we are looking for, this is issue 43. I'll try to remember just to name them by their number that comes after the hyphen, but you know I always slip back. So piece number 1, pelvic frame right, which looks
And that's metal.
like that. Lovely. So piece 2 is pelvic frame, oh hang on, pelvic frame right. Okay. So I've got 2 pieces named exactly the same. I'm going to assume that's
Yes.
metal.
Yes.
Yeah. Dave
And
says,
this one's marked with an R.
so you know which one it is. Dave says, hello to you both. What more could me and Chris buy our bus friends but bus tins to keep all those little bits in? Absolutely perfect, Dave. I honestly could not, between you and Adrian, I couldn't think of a better gift. It's, come home, have a little snack. I'm going to have a little break in a little while. I've been having lots of little breaks, actually. Hence, I've only got one chunky Kit Kat and a regular Kit Kat left. But Kit Kat is one of my favourite chocolate bars. So anyway, sorry. So piece number 3 is the pelvic plate right. And that's one of the pieces.
That one.
Yeah, and
Yes.
piece 4 is the pelvic plate left.
Yes.
Okay.
That's got now. That's that one.
And then piece 5 is 3 M2 nuts. Very small nuts. That's 2 with 1 spare then, is it?
Yes.
You know,
Which
I
I have
do
at the moment.
every week and I still keep getting a muddle. Is it 3 screws in total, one of which is spare, or is it 3 plus 1 spare?
The amount is total amount and including a spare one.
Right. So we've got 3 nuts, but we only need 2.
Yes.
So
Which
we've then got 2 KB 2x4mm screws. So I assume that that's the, it's 1 spare. So that's interesting.
yes.
And then piece 7.
So we end up using one of those.
Yeah. So piece 7 is 3 M2x6mm screws. So I'm going to assume that they're going to go with the 3 M2 nuts.
Yes, it's correct. That's what I reckon.
Yeah. Okay. So
I've
we
already taken them out and I put my spare ones away in a safe place at the moment.
Right. Okay. So we will also need some white writing in the back.
A crosshead screwdriver.
Oh. Need a crosshead screwdriver, tweezers optional, a shaft craft knife and suitable cutting surface, and a fine file. And I'm going to assume the craft knife and the fine file is for those pelvic plates.
Yes, I reckon so as well.
So, step 1, cut the right pelvic plate, piece 3, marked with an R, from the frame. Use a fine file to smooth any roughness where it's been removed from the frame. Now, I personally would use side cutters and a file, but obviously you go by your choice.
I'd use my cutters, but they're around somewhere at the moment.
That's fine. If you're going to have to use a knife, go gentle with a knife and cut away from the piece. Don't do what I used to do as a 6-year-old with my Airfix kits and just rip them off the sprues. They have a tendency to wreck the pieces.
Or you gently give them a slight twist, or like is an option.
I'm going to advise against it, but it's your model. At least score it with a knife. But just be really careful. I've currently accrued about 4 new cuts on my hand from where I've been using a craft knife. As I think we've established on previous streams, how I use a craft knife on stream and how I use a craft knife off stream are 2 different methods. Hello, Chris Davies, how are you? Hi all, and if anyone's interested, look at my wish list. My wish list at the moment is about £1,000 in my bank.
Right, I've cut that one off.
Lovely. Right. Okay, so step 2, if it loads. Right, step 2, position the pelvic frame, piece 1, on your work surface as shown. So it looks like the piece, you're going to have to flip that round 180 degrees. That's it. Or turn it 180 degrees, sorry. Fit the smaller raised socket on the plate 3 into the hole in part 1. It fits in from beneath where the parts are in the orientation shown. So that's going to extend that frame and give you an extra screw hole.
Could be yes.
Lovely.
Or basically make that cover that piece of metal up, basically, probably later date.
Yeah. Is that giving you, is that got a keyhole fitting? Because looking at the picture, it looks like there's a circle with a little line on the top. You just
right, is marking out.
There we go.
It's marking that hole there. It's
Yeah,
pointing
but
out
if
that
you
hole
look
there,
at the little
basically.
top of the circle, is there a little guide in there so that you can't put it in the wrong way? I mean,
Doing
I
it the
can't
wrong way
see
would
how.
actually do it that way,
Right,
because there is an indent on that side there.
right. So I think your marker would be on the right-hand side. There's a little post on part 1 that needs to be sticking up.
Yeah,
Just
you got the
just
first
above your
hole there.
thumb. Yeah, but if you see this little post just above your thumb on the right-hand side of the piece, just move your thumb up. That's it. Your right thumb, move that up a bit. Right,
What,
see
that one
that?
there?
No. Move it across to the right a little bit. Right, up a little
You
bit.
mean that one
That,
there?
yes. If you have that post
Yeah.
pointing upwards, you've got the piece in the correct orientation. And then you shouldn't theoretically go wrong with piece number 3.
No. Well, if you had it the other way up,
Yeah, you'd
it
be putting it in the
would
wrong way.
look at the wrong angle.
Yeah. Right, so step 3, we need to fix that in place with a KB 2x4mm screw. And is that the one we got 2 of which one is spare?
I reckon so.
Right.
I just need to change my tip, because
Okay.
so I find one tip best for doing the root mask, and the other tip is best for doing the Terminator. Right, let's pick that up and screw this one in.
You're going to have to excuse me if I burp. I had a chili con carne for dinner, and it does. I love it. It's really, really nice, but it does make me repeat a little bit.
Right, that job's done.
Lovely. Right, so step 4. Right, so we need, on the right hand side, we need to fit the M2 nuts into each of the 2 hexagonal recesses circled in part 43-1, which is the 2 holes next to that little peg that's pointing up.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm just organising some cheating stuff, basically.
No, that's fine. You organise away, Adrian.
Right. No, it won't work. Right. The 2 holes they're on about is that one there and that one there.
Because at the moment there's a lot of holes, but it looks like there's only 2 holes that are the same shape as the nuts.
Yes, correct. As I put a nut in there, I'm going to temporarily get a bit of tape and just cover the back of it. Well,
That's organisation beyond my levels.
it's if you need to turn it over, you've got them covered until you start putting a screw in.
Yeah.
If it's not going to be hold there for a while, because I'm putting a screw in a moment, it's easy enough to just remove it. Later date. Right, that job's done. Those 2 nuts in there.
Lovely. Right, so the next stage is turn part 1 over, so you are right to tape those in, taking care that the nuts do not fall out. Take the pelvic frame part 2 and align with the 2 screw sockets with the recess on part 41, as indicated by the arrows. Note that there are raised areas on the underside that fit into the recesses. And also I notice that is pointing, it's going upwards from part 1.
Yes. There's your indent
Right.
you find
So
you're
they're
talking
going to
about.
have spacer between the hole
Yeah.
and... Yeah, brilliant.
It's basically a bit more locking wise to just
Yeah.
helps you line the screws and up holes up between the other one.
Okay, so step 4, I think we can guess what's coming. We need to fix the two parts together with 2 PM 2x6mm screws.
Yeah. I'm going to do, well, according to their picture, you've done the closest one to you.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the first one away because it's easier to hold it that way. Then do the closest one to me.
Yeah, do it in your favourite order.
Yes.
I mean, I would probably be tempted to do the furthest one away and then the closest. Work towards yourself then.
Well, another thing is, as you got your hand there, it's easier because you can see that one. Or you working like that is a lot harder to do.
Yeah.
So that's why I chose to do the first one away from me. It's easier to do. Then you can just move down because then it's being held by one screw, and then you just finish off doing the other one.
Yeah.
Now I've finished with the tape, I can remove it off there.
Fantastic.
Right.
Okay, and that is stage complete.
Yes.
So you've got one partially assembled frame with a leftover piece that looks a little bit from this angle like an aeroplane tailplane.
Yes.
So we can assume that's left, so we can assume that's going on the other side. I think it makes sense for them to mold those two pieces in one. That's probably a lot easier for them. So the pieces of the right pelvic frame have been assembled. The left pelvic plate 4 will be used in a future issue. We suggest that you leave it attached to the frame at this stage, which I can't disagree with that advice.
I'll basically put that back in the package and it's easier to find.
Yeah.
It's a lot bigger in my box.
Yep. So, are we ready for the next issue?
Yes.
Right, so we continue work on the pelvis. So there's the cover of issue 44, and we have got a pelvic girdle right, piece number 1. That looks a bit of a meaty piece, doesn't it?
Yes, it's, well, I can't believe it's not metal.
Is it plastic?
Yes, it's plastic.
Wow. Wow. Okay, I would have said that was definitely metal. So I'd like to know what paint they're using for that, because that is really, really good. Yeah, I really can't believe it's not metal. Right, okay, so piece number 2 is the pelvic girdle detail, right?
And same again.
Really? I am surprised. Wow. So I guess you picked that issue up, think it's going to be quite heavy, and it's surprisingly light.
Yes.
Wow, okay. So pieces 3 is 2 PM 2x4mm screws. So you only need the one because one is spare.
Yep.
Okay.
This black one.
Okay. Piece 4 is 3 PB by 3 PB 2x6mm screws, of which one is spare.
Well, Well, and I've put one spare one away, so I've got another 2 left.
And lastly, 44.5, 6 PB 2x4mm screws, of which one is spare.
Which I've got 5 in there.
And I'm quite
Probably
intrigued
put
what
one away.
those, because that's rather a lot of screws for 2 pieces. We will also need a crosshead screwdriver and the right pelvic frame from the previous issue.
Yes. Well, compared to this one, you have got quite a few holes in it.
Right. Okay. So, step 1, position the right pelvic girdle 44.1 on your work surface and identify the fixing points for the pelvic frame. So it looks like you've got, well, they've circled 2 bits sticking out, but it looks like there's quite a few.
I believe that's one of them.
Yeah.
And that's the other one.
But it looks like there's 6 fixing points.
Well, there could be one there.
Right.
And there's another one there.
Okay.
You've got another 2 there.
Interesting. Okay.
And something goes there.
But we're obviously going to focus on these 2 that are circled. You're going to remember, guys, I've not seen this magazine, so I genuinely have no idea what's happening. Right, so we take the pelvic frame assembly from issue 43 and position it on the pelvic girdle 44.1 so that the screw holes circled align with the fixing points identified in step 1. And now I can see where those things, they all line up.
Yes. And basically it's got to go on one way because it fits nicely like so.
Right. So should we run a little competition as to what's going to happen next? Really tough competition this week. So step 3, when in place, the outer edge of the frame should fit neatly into piece 44.1 with the pelvic plate 43.3 in the matching recess in part 44.1 arrowed. So that little sticky out bit should fit in there nicely.
Yes.
Right, lovely. When correctly positioned, fit in place with 2 PB 2x6mm screws.
Oh, that's better.
That's a satisfying click there, isn't it?
Yeah, so I was wondering why it was rocking. I think I had to take a moment to have a look at the thing.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that'll come out in a hurry.
Brilliant. And what won't do once it's screwed in, will it?
No.
I think you'll have to jump on it and break the I can't believe it's not metal to get that out, or use a screwdriver.
Yes. Right. Well, these got nice pins going into each one. I reckon I can just screw them all, each one down tightly as I go around. It's basically when you've got a plate, like the glass panel on the bus sort of thing.
Yes.
And you've got to line up the holes.
Yeah, it's a very delicate operation, isn't it?
Right, that's done.
Fantastic, it looks good. So step 4, we need to, these are the bits I noticed in the first stage. So identify the 4 fixing points circled on pelvic frame parts 43.1 and 43.2. So as you put that on, those it did actually click into those points, didn't it?
Yes.
Right. So I'm going to guess the next stage. Yeah, we use 4 PB 2x4mm screws to fix the pelvic frame in place as shown here. So obviously what they've done is they've asked you to put 2 screws in, and that's positioned that framework into the correct position, and then you've secured it down properly with the next 4.
It could be the size of screw, because they're probably smaller shafts, so you don't need a stronger screw, and that's probably a longer shaft.
Right.
You want a longer screw to create more support in the shaft,
Of
probably.
course it is, yeah. You've got 2 6mm screws and 4 4mm screws. Right. Good spot there, Adrian. I didn't notice that.
Of course, you're only looking by the piece by camera, and
Yeah. So Chris Davies is asking, has anyone had their sub issues for the bus? No, I know I've been allocated the next issues, but I haven't received them. But in all fairness, I am expecting them late because we've got 3 bank holidays within a 1-week period. So that's going to slow everything down by about a week. A lot of companies also shut down between Christmas and New Year. So if they've not actually been posted, they probably won't be posted until the new year.
now I reckon they might have been posted before the
Quite
16th.
well done. I did get some strange issues come through the other day, which I've emailed them to see what they want me to do with them, and surprise, surprise, I've not had a response. But I'm giving them every excuse for not responding. Like I say, it is Christmas. I thought I'll do the right thing.
Yes, please communicate with them.
Oh, lucky Dave Say. Dave Say says, I'm okay, thanks, Chris Davies, just having a gin. Must be Christmas then. I actually didn't do quite as much drinking as I planned to, but then I think you never do you?
Well, yes, you think, oh, yeah, I'll drink all that, and by another time, I think, well, you've had some, and think, actually, no, I think I've had enough.
I don't think I did any drinking actually, but you know, I obviously didn't want to drink. Otherwise, I would have made sure I did drink. But Christmas Eve, I was busy doing this, that, and the other. Christmas Day, I didn't drink because I knew I was driving the next day. Had a wonderful Boxing Day. Our company does things a little bit different over Christmas. Normally, if we work a bank holiday, we accrue a loo day. But the exception to the rule is Christmas, because they don't give you loo days. They just pay you for the day on top of the work that you've done, because then they haven't got to allocate the loo days between December and March. So I did a 12-hour shift on Boxing Day, so I'll be paid 19.5 hours for that, of which 12 hours is at overtime rate. So 2 weeks time, I'll be rich.
Right, step 6, please.
Right, so step 6, yeah. So we need to take the pelvic girdle detail 44.2 and fit it against the rounded end of part 44.1 so that the screw holes are aligned. So there's 2 holes, 3 holes to line up.
There's actually 3 holes.
Yeah. Right. Interesting. Very interesting. So step 7, we'll fix the part in 44.2 in place with a PM 2x4mm screw. So at 4mm, that'll be a holding screw, will it?
Yes.
Chris Davies got Carling and Bacardi in the fridge. Hopefully you won't be drinking them together. Doesn't sound like a... Although, you know, whatever tickles your fancy. Although I did hear, you know, like one of those funny questions that the answer doesn't really matter, but it's like it gets you thinking. And the question I heard was, at what point does a lager tops become the shandy?
Right, I've done that screw.
Lovely. So step 8. Take a PB 2x4mm screw and fit it into the screw socket at the corner of part 44.2. Tighten the screw to fix the parts in place.
Well, I'm glad that hole wasn't not so deep. The hole is that deep.
Ah, right. So you
My oil screwdriver was just enough.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. I bought a four screwdriver set from Poundland, and I didn't really expect much from them, but things like that, they're really handy. Right, so step 9. Oh no, that's stage complete. So the pelvic frame and the detail have been attached to the right pelvic girdle. Right, so what do you think, Adrian?
That's not bad. I reckon the pin arm might go into there.
Right. Does look like a pivot point, doesn't it?
Yes.
So, how close do you think we'll be to enabling the Terminator to do the moonwalk?
I think quite a few issues for a start.
Oh, okay then. Oh yeah, we've got to build the legs up first, haven't we? Right. Yes. So next week we are building the left pelvic frame, and that's quite interesting because that looks like 2 issues previous, but the pieces on the sprue look a different shape. So do you think that we will put those 2 pieces of metal together and then add one detail and then keep that sprue back for future issue?
Or we might use them both, because as we've got both parts. Well, they might tell us to do one. What's the point of us doing one? Or yes, or future reference
because
later.
Like I said in the previous issue, it's probably manufacturing wise, it's probably just as easy for them to do 2 pieces on one sprue than it is to do one. So it's easy for them to give us 1 piece and then say keep that for later issue. It would be a little bit more expensive perhaps to do 1 piece on a sprue and then another piece on a sprue later. Plus, also, if we lose that spare piece between now and when we need it, we then have to spend another $8.99 buying a replacement issue for 1 plastic piece.
Well, we might assemble the right piece, one of those pieces, onto this one, or we don't know, unless it might be kept for a later date. You don't know.
Who knows? This is the fun of the speculation.
Yes.
So I think that is all I've got image-wise. So Chris is asking me about the issues that I've received. Oh, you're not going to believe this, Chris. The issues that I received is 29 and 30, which looks like engine-y pieces. exhaust silencer or exhaust pieces. And then I got 55, 56 and 57. So am I to assume from your comment that you need 57? Because if you do, I think you need the bell cord, don't you? Do you want me to offer to buy that from Hachette? Because I think I need the handles. So if you like, we can keep the issue and go halves on it. You can take the string.
He needs issue 56 for the bell cord.
56. He says, did I have issue 57? Which is that one. Oh,
if he needs a replacement bell cord, he needs issue 56.
Well, the bell cord is in 57. Look, there's 57, and there's the bell cord. But I'll be honest with you, well, I'll see if I keep it, because I know I need some of the poles, but I can't remember what I've done with. I've got to move the trays that I had. That's no. Right, I can't remember which trays. I know I needed some poles, but I can't remember if I needed a short or a long one. So
actually, leave that issue 56 complete. I got issue 57, okay, and my one's damaged.
I've got a 56, which has a piece of roof in it.
I got a spare faulty issue 57.
Okay. Right, well, we'll talk about that one off, because obviously we're talking about the Terminator today. But yeah. So, right, I need to do some sorting out, because I've lost all the bits. I know I put bits safe somewhere, but where I put them safe, I'm not 100% sure. So, you know me. But yeah, no, I mean, not a problem. Rather than sending them back and then ordering another one, I might as well just pay them for the ones that I've got. So, yeah, sorted. Right, so Adrian, your thoughts? I like this issue, and the main reason I like this issue is we've been doing so much work on the body and adding things. We're now starting on something else, and I get the impression we're going to continue work on it. Then we will attach that to the main bit, and suddenly, you know, we've got a small chunk, and then all of a sudden we'll go, whoa, look at how much that's grown.
Yeah, so that's what I reckon. So I say put this in a safe place. You won't be touching it for a while. So basically, as we're doing now, doing the hip, we'll probably build the hip up so much.
Yeah.
Then later they might either tell us, right, store that in a safe place and build another section, or either tell us to fix it together.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, nice little issue. It's always nice if you work on. It's a bit of a pain when you work on something completely different and you end up with all these little bits everywhere. But what have you got apart from this bit? Everything's all in one piece now, isn't it?
Yes, all I've got.
Quite nice when you build something else up and then you add that onto the main construction. So Chris is pretty much echoing my thoughts, which is awesome build. I really am jealous of this build as it looks amazing. It really does, actually. I am a little bit regretful that I didn't. I am with the Bismarck as well, but costs, obviously, I couldn't afford to do them both. But they do look awesome builds. So hopefully come April I will save a little bit of money. So I got another Harley. I had a bit of a I've been a bit bad over Christmas, and I've kind of neglected my budgets. And two of my model spaces, the payments bounced. It's not a major problem, but I end up with this very polite email to say, "Oh, we're ever so sorry for the inconvenience, but your payment didn't go through. At your earliest convenience, could you contact us?" And then it finishes with, "Sorry if this has caused any inconvenience." And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, no, I haven't paid. You should be like, pay me money or else. So I rang them up straight away, and the Harley Davidson's arrived today. So I know that payment's gone through. And I just noticed about 10 minutes before we went on air, the Fiat payment went through, which, in all fairness, will probably affect. I know that myself and Jason are doing some building on the 29th, which is Sunday. Yeah, this coming Sunday.
Yes.
I've got pack 2. We did plan to do pack 2 and 3. But I've got to be honest with you, I think there might be enough in pack 2. One sec. I think we've got enough in pack 2 to fill a show with that, but I doubt the pack will come by tomorrow. It'll probably be a Monday or Tuesday. But I suppose we could actually build with Jason, and then I'll do a catch up off screen. So Dave is asking if you'd be able to show us all the Terminator, Adrian, as we have guests that would like to see it. If you can, please.
Right. Okay.
So I would suggest you want to go to full screen, Adrian, because
Yes.
Dave says guests probably don't want to see me when they're interested in the Terminator. Although I have got my awesome T-shirt on today, my Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yes, I'm just getting there at the moment.
So all right, take it time.
Sorry, as I didn't have to do with the Terminator, I actually putting some other parts on top as a nice packaging. Right. Right. For me to store it, I took my arm off to keep it to. It's easy to put in the box.
Right, so it's not going to be so wide.
Yes.
That looks heavy, Andrew, from the way you've lifted that up. Wow.
And there's my arm, and that goes on to about there. Yes, it is slightly heavy.
Yeah, I can tell from the way that you're straining as you pick it up. But that's what, a third of the build?
Yes.
So how much are you going to strain when it's fully built?
Good question.
I've got to be honest with you. I remember Horlick saying before this came out, he said,
and I reckon that might go something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, Horlicks had raised a concern about the frame, and I kind of wasn't too worried about it because obviously this build has been researched. But looking at the way you pick up that, I am now concerned about the frame. Do you think it will hold long term?
Maybe it depends how the set made the framework or the stand.
Time will only tell.
Yes, and well, I reckon the stand at the back has got to be, the pole's got to be metal for control this up.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And it depends how that's made, assembled together. Are we going to have a hole with whole thread, and the shaft's going to have a thread?
Oh, what, and screw it to the framework?
We might have sections of the framework, the pole
Right.
going up. It's a
See, if
good
you
question.
have a pole, I think that the pole will support it static, but if you then start to play with it, I think that's going to put extra pressure on the pole.
Yes.
But then how else can it be done? Is there any better way to do it? So I don't know.
That is a good question.
Now, what continues to surprise me, and we said this a lot about the Bootmaster, that's issue 44, so that's been going over 9 months, which sounds a long time, doesn't it? And I don't think we've not had many tiny issues, have we? We've had, even this issue, we're only putting 2 pieces together. They've been quite substantial. Dave says, thank you so much, Adrian. Very much appreciated. Lots of wows from us here. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. Yeah, so we've not had the kind of issues where here's one tiny piece, here's one screw, that's it for the week. Yeah, they've always been a reasonable amount of work. Obviously, we do 2 issues a week, but we've had, if you look at each individual issue, I don't think there's been many where there's not much to do.
No, that's why I thought, well, about 3 or 4 screws each time.
Yeah.
That's why I do 2 issues at a time, because...
Yeah, but it's been enough work to do. I would say every issue, if you put, well, maybe not so much the time value, but because obviously it's a little bit like the Harley in that the pieces have to be a certain size, otherwise it's just not going to look good. Like my Harley fuel tank, you can't do any more than 2 pieces. So, and because you're getting an awful lot of bulk, you're not going to get that much. You only get 1 or 2 pieces. But where you get 1 or 2 big pieces, you do build. I mean, look what you've just produced in two issues.
Yes.
That's a substantial 2 issues, I think. It's when you get 1 tiny piece and 1 screw, you're building up to something big, but nevertheless, when the whole issue, you've been waiting all week for it, and then you go, that's it, finished. It's a bit boring, but this is always, I think it's, and of course you've always got the articles as well, haven't you?
Yes, of course.
So yeah, I've enjoyed it so far. So what do you want to talk about?
I've had a good Christmas. Did you have a good Christmas?
I've had a most wonderful Christmas. I had a nice, simple Christmas, an enjoyable, simple Christmas. I know some people would frown upon the Christmas I had, but I had mainly peace and quiet. I knew I wasn't going to get a phone call from work because there was no work on Christmas Day. I wasn't even going to get a phone call, can you come in tomorrow? Can you do this tomorrow? I just cracked on. I did whatever I wanted to do. It was nice and quiet. I got a couple of phone calls in the daytime from people, which actually was nice. I had a nice simple. What I had for my dinner, it was surprisingly good. I went to Iceland and I bought their beef-filled Yorkshire pudding. I'm not a big fan of pre-bought Yorkshire puddings, but obviously it was £1 a box, and I got to admit, the only regret I had was I didn't buy 2 of them. It was about this big, and it was filled up with peas and carrots and gravy and a couple of bits of beef. And yeah, I had a really good Christmas day. I can't see the point in spending 4 or 5 hours cooking for one person. Obviously, if I had a family round, I'd have spent all night preparing, and it would have been worth it. But yeah, they're
Yes.
nice and simple, and I cracked on with a few things. A few things I didn't get a chance to do, but I've kind of established that is my life. I have so much to do, I'll never get it all done. So, and I watched a lot of TV actually. I had a lot of TV on in the background. I watched a couple of the kids' films that came on Christmas Day. And I watched, what did I watch? Beauty and the Beast. I watched. That was quite good. And I watched. Apparently, it's been around since last year, but the BBC have done like a watershed, a 9 p.m. watershed version of the Christmas Carol. I assume it's for adults because it's got lots of swearing in it. But it was really well done actually. So I enjoyed that. So if you've got access to iPlayer, A Christmas Carol, I would definitely recommend it, but not for kids because of the language. But it was very good. So yeah, I enjoyed my Christmas. I'm looking forward to New Year. So I will be bringing in the New Year with a drink, as I do every year. I'm not going to be driving on New Year's Day. And yeah, enjoyed myself. It's just the aftermath now. We had yesterday was quite funny because we had a special service yesterday, which is practically a bank holiday with the addition of an extra route. And I don't know. Tell me what you think of this, Adrian. Right, as a non-bus driver, right? If you went out Boxing Day, would you get the last bus home, or would you plan to get an earlier bus?
I'd probably try the one before.
Right, that's my viewpoint. I personally don't understand why people. I want to throw that out to you all because I understand you. If you're having a day out, you want to make the most of the day out, and if the last bus is like 5 or 6 o'clock, the day's probably just getting going. But if there's a problem with that last bus and you can't get on it, how are you getting home? Whereas if you get the second from last bus and there's a problem, then you've always got the last bus to to back you up. Now I had to show the driver the Cardiff route yesterday, so there was two of us on this route, and it was absolutely hammered. And thankfully, when we left Newport, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, what time's the last bus?" And we're going, "Oh, this is the last bus." And so they're like, "Oh, well, I better get on this one," and that's fine. We had enough people, but we were the last bus going back to Newport, and everybody was getting on the last bus, and we actually left in total about 4 people behind at bus stops, and we just couldn't get them on. We couldn't physically. I think we were already overloaded by numbers, but we just physically didn't have the space. And we had a couple of push chairs on there as well where they took the kids out, which obviously takes extra space. So 4 people have had to get, I don't know, probably a taxi home, which on Boxing Day isn't going to be cheap. So,
No.
but I've never gone for the last bus. I understand some people. There was a rugby match on yesterday in Cardiff, and I don't know what time the rugby kicked off, but if the rugby match finishes at about 4 or 5, obviously you want to pop in the pub and have a quick half, and then you're probably only going to get the last bus. But if all the shoppers had got the last but one bus, we would have got everybody home that day. So happy birthday to Maxwell House, who was 3 on Christmas Day. That's what I call Chris Davies' dog. I call him Max, Maxwell, and Maxwell House. You'll hear me if you ever in the area and I'm around here. You'll hear me chasing him around the garden, going Maxwell House. So just my funny little name for him. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it annoys him. Maybe that's why he doesn't answer to it. So he does answer when I call him Dog Tree. Funnily enough. So yeah, happy birthday to him. So yeah, just one of those things. You know, why do people get the last bus? Today the shoppers have been out. There was one person asked me about some bus, and they were like, well, it's due at this time. I'm like, no, it's not due at this time. Yes, it always comes at this time. I'm going, yeah, but it's a Saturday service, and it's like a 2-hour service, and Monday to Friday, I'm making times up, but Monday to Friday it might run like 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and then on a Saturday it runs like 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock. So it was like she was at the bus stop at the time that it would have run on a Friday, but because it was a Saturday service. And I'm saying, no, it's that. She goes, but it's Friday. And I'm like, yeah, but it's a Saturday service. So, and then one guy had a go at me because the travel office wasn't open, despite being advertised for weeks. And he's going, well, it should be open. Look, the sign on the window. I said, yeah, but have a look at the poster on the window that tells you our Christmas opening. And even the driver, this was the funniest moment, all the drivers had been coming in at their, obviously we have rotors up on the wall, and they've all copied their duties down, and they've all come in at the time their Friday duties would have started. But we've had duties changed. You all right, Adrian?
Yeah, I'm just saying yes, but it's a Saturday service. But
Service. Now, one driver came in 3 hours early, and he's going, oh well, I've left my diary at home. He goes, if I go home, I'm not bloody coming back in. He's in at 7 o'clock. He wasn't due to start till 10. And this poor old supervisor had been getting it off every driver. And I went in a bit later on, and the allocation supervisor was in as well. And I'd gone in and I said, they're still bloody moaning. And the supervisor went, yeah, because I've had that since 6 o'clock this morning. And I said, don't they ever stop? And I went, besides, there's 4 posters on the wall advertising the changes to the duties. And the allocation supervisor just went, thank you, Penny. I'm like, well, it's all there. I said, and besides, all they have to do is ring up. Because I got confused about today. Because I should have been 6. Wouldn't have been too bad if I'd got in too early. But on a Monday to Friday, our spare, which is what I am, our second spare, is 6:30. But on a Saturday, the second spare comes in at 7. So I said to the manager yesterday, I said, oh, I'm a little bit confused. I said, it's Friday tomorrow, so I should be 6:30 spare, but it's Saturday service. So am I coming in at 6:30 or am I coming in at 7? He says, no worries, I'll have a little look on the computer. He had a look on the computer and it said 7 o'clock. So I came in for 7 this morning. And I'm in 7 o'clock, obviously, tomorrow because it's Saturday. Sunday, I'm off. I think Monday and Tuesday, I'm in at 7 because we're running a Saturday service. And I think New Year's, the day after New Year's, I think it's back to normal. So easy, isn't it? If you don't know, ask the inspector. If you then come in late, if you come in the time the inspector tells you to, and you're late, it's now not your fault because you've come in the time the manager said to come in. Easy.
yes. Guess.
You know, if I say to you, or pop round at 9, and then you pop round at 9, and I go, where the hell have you been? I needed you at 7 o'clock. You'll just turn around and go, well, I came at the time you told me to. So, Chris says, if it wasn't too far, I'd grab a taxi back or walk. Well, this is Cardiff to Newport, so it's taxi. I think it's about 20 quid basic fare. So it's probably Boxing Day would probably have been 40 quid. But hopefully these people will go, do you know what, I'll get an early bus. You know, next year they'll go, I'll get an early bus. Do you remember what happened last year? Because when you're the last bus and you drive past someone and don't pick them up, their face is a terrible picture. And it's not one that I like seeing, but what can you do?
Would you stop and say, I'm sorry, I can't fit you on? I'm full.
No, because this sounds nasty, but once it's easier to stop them from coming on the bus than it is to get them off. Once you stop and open the doors, they will naturally step on the bus, right?
Right.
What
Yeah.
will happen is you'll go, well, I'm ever so sorry, my love, I can't fit you on. Then they'll start having a look to try and prove you wrong. Oh, well, I could fit in there. Yeah, just don't stop. You haven't got to get them off then. So I know it sounds nasty, but, and also if you stop to every stop, you're then running later and later. So here, according to the first, the buses will be back to normal 6th of January. I hear the trains were having a terrible time. It was, I think it was a week after I went to see Chris. I think they dropped like 50 shifts in one day due to staff shortages. So I think I went to visit Chris just at the right time. So yeah, so maybe I should apply to be a train driver, because obviously they'll be so desperate for staff they'll take me on. So right.
Don't forget, well, Bowden Trains lost their up there, haven't they, sort of thing.
Say that again.
Don't forget that Bowden Trains lost their contract, sort of up that way.
Yeah, in Wales, Transport for Wales seems to be taking everything over. And in my opinion, they've actually got a little tiny bit worse. I suppose what's happened is they've got delays in supplies. You know, maybe they've ordered new trains. I know they've got changes to timetables, but when I went to see Chris, I actually had seat reservations, and the train that I actually got was a god awful train. It must have been about 150 years old. That must have been one of the first diesel DMUs ever built, and it was horrible. It was cold, and I'm like, I'm so thankful I'm only on this for a couple of hours, hour. But I think what they've done is they've ordered trains for the new route, for the routes and everything. The trains haven't turned up, so they've just got anything they can, leased some old trains just so that they can run a service. But I believe that they are sorting things out, and the trains will be nicer, the services will be more reliable, because I think that's why they've changed all the timetables, which is nice to know, because if they're looking at where the delays are, they can, maybe delays are caused by, there's a lot of delays on the train that we just can't possibly imagine. So you know, for example, it might be that the train between Cardiff and Swansea has to stop halfway through to allow another train through. So if they timetable that Cardiff to Swansea to leave 5 minutes earlier or later, then obviously that train won't coincide at that point. So that train can go straight through, and then that one can go straight through, or whatever. But then obviously that may have a knock-on effect somewhere else. And
Guess.
You know, I think it's just like when you write a computer program, you write the whole computer program and everything works, and then you make a change. So you you bolt this bit on, and then later on you bolt another bit on, and then what starts happening is this bit starts interfering there, and so what you end up having to do eventually is completely rewrite the whole lot. And I think that's probably what they've done with the trains. So hopefully the trains will be really nice. I don't have a major problem with trains in Wales, but then again, I always deliberately go for the off-peak trains. Um, I actually aim to be like, if I go to see Chris, I'll try and get there in the morning, or I'll aim to get so that I can get the last or second from last bus to his house. But I quite like traveling in the morning, and then when I come back, I get an early morning bus, so that by the time I get into Nice, I'm actually catching the train that leaves after the rush hour. And obviously, I'm going into Cardiff. Most people would be coming out of Cardiff, so it gets nice and quiet then, because I don't like a busy train. I always end up with someone with a screaming baby, or someone who falls asleep on my shoulder. And I found out that if you're on the train at 11 o'clock in first class, the sandwiches are absolutely awesome. So that is the time to be travelling. 11 o'clock on Great Western trains. 11 o'clock first class. It really is first class. And if you book it well in advance, it's only about £5 extra.
Well, I had the taxi across London. I didn't pay for the taxi.
Oh,
Well, the train companies did.
did you? The trains didn't run properly.
Yeah, my first train was running late, so missed my connection at a certain point.
Yeah. Talking about running across London, well, running. I thought I saw a superhero yesterday. I saw this man running across Newport with a cape, and I thought, oh, we've got a superhero. And then just after, I saw a barber running across, going, "Hey, come back and pay for that haircut." So I hope everyone had a good Christmas. Right, Chris Davis says they're taking over Arriva train. Yeah, I think they're taking over the franchise, not taking over the trains. That will be
yes,
a big
Reva's
loss.
taking over. Yes, you find
Yeah,
taking over the franchise.
That would be a big loss for Arriva, because I know that, because I used to work for Arriva Bus. Now Arriva are owned by, is it DB, which is a German company. Now I know for a fact that they're not interested in the buses, because the buses don't make enough money. However, the trains and the buses are together. You got to buy one. If you buy one, you got to get the other as well. And I think it's the same with First Group. They're not really interested in the buses. They're more interested in the trains. And if they could sell off their bus division, they would. But nobody's interested in buying the bus division, because the money's in the trains. So if you can get some mug who will buy the bus division, it would be sold tomorrow. But I know. So if Arriva loses a train franchise, I know that's a big, big loss for them, because that's what they're really interested in. And I know Stagecoach, they've now got a train division. Is it Abellio? No, Abellio Greater Anglia. They're something to do with Stagecoach, and apparently they're doing well. So I wouldn't be surprised if in 20 years you'll see more Abellio. And then obviously you've got Virgin as well. They do the big trains, don't they? But they're sort of interested in like the London to Scotland ones, aren't they? So
Yeah, because there's a YouTube show basically saying Virgin Trains are actually closing down.
Really?
Thanks for I saw an advertisement on one of the shows. Basically, they were talking about the ending of it.
Right. Yeah. See, a lot of people are being put off by trains because, especially with the overcrowding. I've got to be honest with you. I've never really experienced overcrowding. But then I don't travel peak time. Very, very rare I travel peak times. Um, and what I'll do is I'll reserve a seat. Seat reservations are free, so I'll do a seat reservation. But again, I think it comes down to forward planning. I know when I used to have a regular appointment in London, I never used to book it early in the morning. And they understood actually, if you're coming, say, for example, from Norwich to London, they're not going to book you a 9 o'clock appointment because they know you're going to struggle to get there. So what they tend to do is people from London, they'll get the 9 o'clock appointments. And then the people that come a little bit further afield, they'll sort of get the 12 to 2 o'clock appointments. And then the people that come really long distance, they'll get the late in the afternoon appointments. People say from Scotland, because if you come from, say, Scotland, you're either going to get an overnight train back or you're going to book a B&B and go back the next day. But yeah, but I think with coach travel is really good. And I think people are turning to that, aren't they? But coach travel, that's a bit of a funny one because short distance, it's not really that much cheaper for obvious reasons. And long term, it's that much longer. People don't want to travel, but they'd rather travel on a coach long distance than travel on an overcrowded train, won't they? So I don't
Yes.
know. I like coach, but you can't
Or
move.
it depends on the cost wise as well. If you
Yeah.
compare, don't forget.
Well, when I go to Chris's, it's six. I think it's £16 return standard, £27 first class return, and I think the coach is about 15 quid. So for the extra pound, you might as well travel by train. And then I think, well, once I've spent 16 quid, I might as well go 27 quid. And it's never full up in first class at that time of day. And you do get well looked after. So, although last time I went, that was quite funny because there was a girl who booked first class before I'd got on the train. She was on before me, and she'd said to the hostess, she said, "Oh, my friend's on this train. There's loads of space in first class. Is there any chance she could come into first class with me? Obviously, she wouldn't be entitled to all the extras you get." And the woman said, "Yeah, no problems, as there's plenty of room." I think there was like 3 people in the whole carriage. So when I got on, the hostess actually thought that was me. So I'm sitting in first class, and every time she came round with a coffee, she went straight past me. So I said, "Oh, excuse me." I said, "Is there any chance I can have a cup of coffee?" And she went, "Oh, are you first class?" I went, "Yeah." And she went, "Oh, I'm really, really sorry." And then she explained the story, and I said, "Okay, that's fine." And then the next time she came round, you're like entitled to one thing off the trolley each time. And I said, I said, "I can't decide between like the flapjack and the cookie." And she went, "Yeah, I have both." So my way of apologies. So
Well, yes, it's
but
yeah.
I
If I had a first class ticket and basically she walked past me, basically first time, second time, excuse me, I'm tired of a coffee.
I
Here's
didn't
my
I didn't
ticket.
let there
Yeah,
be a
yeah,
second time. I caught her on the way back. If she'd have
yeah.
walked past me a second time, it would have been, "Oi, first class, eh?" No, I wouldn't. I'd have been very polite about it.
Yeah. I politely said, "Excuse me, shall I show you my ticket?"
Yeah. See, another thing about travelling off peak, you don't always get the conductors come round, but you still have to get a ticket because you don't know if they're going to come round. So, but last time when I came back from Christmas like the other week, all the barriers had been left open at the train station. There was no conductor on the train, and I thought, I could have travelled here for free. But then again, another time if you do it, you'll not have a ticket. But there used to be one train I used to get. I always used to pre-book my ticket, but they did actually accept money on the train. The conductor would come round, and if you didn't have a ticket, you could buy a ticket on the train. And there was quite a few people who used to travel on that one, and I think they've done away with paying on the train now. But people would get on the train, and if there's no conductor, they travel for free. So I think that's why they've done away with it.
Yes. Either what they do is either you can buy they should have prices if you purchase a ticket on the train, and prices if you already purchased it.
A lot of them do. I know years ago, I mean, the prices were obviously a lot cheaper then, but if you travel like Norwich to London, if you booked the ticket like, I think it was 2 days in advance, it'd be like 20 quid. If you booked it like 6 months in advance, like National Express and Megabus, they have like so many tickets at £5. And then you could, I mean, I've booked like to London 6 months in advance and travelled first class for like 6 quid. But if you turn up on the day, buy your ticket to get on the next train, it's something like £90. So, and that's the difference. 6 months in advance is 6 quid first class. On the day, 90 odd quid for standard class. Don't even talk about first class, because that's like at least double the price.
Yes. Well, some people complain about the prices. Well, if you know you're going to be travelling, it's best to book it.
Yeah.
I used to, if I'm travelling up to London, I used to book it at least 7 days in advance notice.
Well, it's made easier for me because, like, for example, if I go up to Chris's, I get paid on a Thursday, so I might be traveling, say, on a Wednesday. So I need to buy that 6 days in advance, because if I haven't got the money on Thursday, I definitely won't have the money on Wednesday. But I do like to try and book 2-3 weeks in advance. Just sometimes plans might change, and like last time, it was beginning of December, I went up to Chris's, and I'd arranged, I was going to go up, I think, the weekend, and then I'm like, oh no, I forgot we have the park and ride. So obviously I was working the Saturday, it was my long weekend. So when did I come up, Chris? Was it Tuesday and went back Wednesday? No, it must have come up Monday. No, Thursday, and I come back Friday. And then I said to you, because I said, oh, bugger, Adrian, I've gone and booked to go to Chris's, because I was due back at 8 o'clock. And you said, don't worry, it's the week that we don't build. So it would have been 3 weeks ago, was it?
Something like that, yes.
So, yeah. So, guys, so this is the period of time that I now call no man's land. What do you call this time? For the next 3 or 4 days, nobody knows what day it is. It's not Christmas. It's not New Year. You know, it's like when Adrian sent me a message yesterday saying, oh, are you going to be all right for Friday or for tomorrow? And I'm like, tomorrow? Oh, bugger, it's Friday tomorrow. And even today, because also we're on a Friday, we're running a Saturday service, Christmas is just gone, New Year, we're thinking about New Year. I actually have had no idea what the day has been all day. So absolute crazy. So I just call this no man's land. It's not anything, is it? Zombie time, isn't it? People just walking around going, What day is it? When do I go back to work?
I knew someone basically, all he was doing basically, right, okay, bus pulls in, hops on that bus, sits on that bus for a while he's parked up there for a while. Right,
Yeah,
he's got to go. So he hops off that one, waits for the next to pull in, hops on that one, sits on that one.
yeah, yeah. I know a few people like that. Oh, it's a funny story for you. I did this bus today, and this guy gets on at the retail park, and he said, we were having a lot of trouble today because when this retail park gets busy, every bus that goes through it ends up delayed. Day before Christmas Eve, we were running like over half an hour late because this retail park was jammed. Anyway, this guy had obviously been waiting for buses to take him into town. And he got on my bus. He says, right, he goes, are you going into town? I said, no, I'm sorry, I'm on my way to Chepstow. And he went, so when you get to Chepstow, will you go back to Newport? I went, yeah. And he went, sod it, I'm getting on this bus. At least then I'm on a bus. No matter when I get back, at least I'll be on the bus. So he jumps on, puts his concession card on, and he starts chatting to me. And he's going on about he's come from the Isle of Man to visit his brother, which caused a bit of an alarm for me because Isle of Man is, as far as I'm aware, is English concession passes. Now, I don't know if you know, but you can't use your English concession pass outside of England, and you can't use your Welsh pass outside of Wales, and the same with Scotland. So I'm thinking, well, if he's got an English pass, how has that gone onto the machine and been accepted? Because any English passes and Scottish passes, they come up as not valid in this area. And I just thought, I'm not going to question it. The guy seems quite friendly. I've got another 2 hours before I come off my bus. I just can't be asked for the hassle. So the guy's chatting to me and he says, oh, he's come from the Isle of Man to visit his brother. And I'm like, and he goes, oh, my brother is a bit of an idiot. I'm like, okay, right. Story I've heard a million times. And he goes, yeah, he goes, he's bought himself 2 scooters. And I'm thinking, I know a guy who's bought himself 2 scooters. He bought himself one of these scooters because he's got a disability. But he didn't like the colour, so he bought another one. And then he goes, yeah, but he wants to get rid of those 2 and buy a third one because he wants one with increased range. And I'm thinking, I know a guy that wants one with an increased range. And he's going, yeah, but it's not worth it. And I'm thinking, that's what I said to my friend. His scooter's got a range of like 25 miles, and he wants one with a 45-mile range. And I'm thinking, you live 2 miles from the city centre, so why do you need 45 miles? And he's going blah blah, and he's saying all these things, and I'm thinking, yes. And he goes, yeah, my brother, his name's Robert. I went, I know who you're talking about. And it was the same person. And then as we kind of got a bit chatty and friendly, I said, I'm going to ask you a question. I said, don't take this the wrong way. I said, that pass you put on, is that actually yours? And he went, oh, no, it's my brother's. Because every single concession card in Wales expires on the 31st of December. And most people who have ordered early enough have got new concession cards. So the new ones work, but the old ones work as well. And most people aren't using the new ones because I can't see this makes a difference, but someone has started a rumor that if you use the new one, it will then invalidate your old one. Not that it makes a difference, because so long as you've got a card that works. So this guy, he's got his new card, and he's given his old one to his brother, who's using it technically fraudulently. And I'm going, you know, I should take that card, shouldn't you? So he went, yeah. He goes, I know. I said, look, I can't be bothered. I said, just don't use it again. So when I got to Chepstow, I messaged him on Facebook and I went, some scumbag has stolen your cards and is trying to use it fraudulently. But don't worry, I caught him and I've confiscated his pass off him, so he won't be travelling anymore. So I haven't had a response yet. So I wonder what the reaction would be when he got back. He's like, "Oh, have you had? Where's my card? Here we go." And
Oh, here's my card.
yeah, some scumbag has stolen your card. Has tried to use it, but don't worry, I'm on the ball. But no, he's quite a nice guy actually. I mean, he is actually a concession card holder, but he's concession card holder in Isle of Man, so it's all the same, isn't it? My personal, obviously I have to follow rules, but my opinion is that if you've got a concession card in England, it should be valid in Scotland and Wales. It's all the UK, isn't it? And it's all the same ultimate government, isn't it?
So why couldn't they basically run? Okay, if you can't travel to a different county, basically, why can't you have a concession fee you pay?
Say that again.
Let's say each journey, someone you get off the council, basically, say £1.50 for that journey.
Yeah.
Anyone like in Wales, if anyone from England wants to travel, they pay the fee.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
one
Well,
company down my way before 9:30, if you want to travel, you got a concession card, we'll charge you £1.
yes. What we used to do in Aylesbury was if you want to travel outside the travel times, we would issue you a child ticket, and you could actually buy a child day ticket, so long as you presented that child ticket with your concession card, that was acceptable. It's charging them something, but it's not charging them full fare, because we felt it's not fair. And in all fairness, they still make more money than they would on the. You don't make a lot of money on those concession cards. When they first, when were they? They must have been introduced about 2006. And I know the company I was working for, they were getting like 50p a journey from from the council, and they were making so much money because a lot of the pensioners, they were like, oh great, I've got this free travel pass, and they were just jumping on buses all day long and let's go and get some milk, let's jump on one bus stop. And the companies were like, brilliant, we're 50p for one bus stop, and they're getting like 10 buses a day, and we were making more money off the concessions than we were off the full paying people. And then obviously once the bills started coming in for the council, the amount of money was going down and down and down. And then it started to get a bit problematic. And now, I've heard that, Chris. Transport for Wales have extended it to February. We've got this procedure now where we have to make them put the pass on the machine. If it then comes up as invalid, we then have to look at that machine, that card. If it is definitely them, we have to allow them travel. We have to say to them, have you got your new card? Have you applied? This is how you apply if you haven't done. And if it's been used fraudulently, we then have to take that card off them. And I don't know what the situation is. I know with school kids, if we confiscate a pass, we have to still allow them travel, but obviously they can't then make another journey. But that's so that they can get to school, and then they can go and see their teacher and say, oh, I can't get home, can you help us out? I actually do that with pensioners. If I confiscate a pass off them, I say, go and sit down, you can have this journey. And then they don't complain so much then. So yeah.
Right, I'll turn it. Are you going out or are you going home? Or basically, are you going home?
Yeah,
Fine.
I ask that one sometimes. I also tell them, um, like, if they might say, "Well, I'm off to get my new pass," and I say, "Right, well, get yourself down the travel centre, get a new pass. It's £5 for a replacement." But we have another system in place where if you have a receipt for the new card, that will allow you free travel because obviously you won't get your pass straight away. Although apparently Chris got his on the same day. So, but yeah, I allow a grace of about 3 weeks. If you show me a receipt that's dated less than 3 weeks old, I will allow free travel, and that's what we should be doing.
Oh,
Doesn't always work like that.
it's
Depends on.
surprising they can't have a temporary card basically that they've been issued.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Um,
if they take a photograph, then the actually temporary one as a temporary card. You know, bus
thing is, if
company
you
do a year card don't they, with an
take
image of
photos,
the person basically and
yeah,
the
if
ending
you're
date.
taking photos, you might as well end up issuing them a ticket, a pass. If you're not going to put a photo on it, well, you might as well just give them the receipt. So we accept the receipt as free travel, but yeah, no, I do think we should have travel for out of country users. I mean, they do it on a county level, don't they, in England? I know a lot. You have your own county rule. Most places is free travel after 9 and up to 11. I don't think anybody obeys the after 11 rule, but most people do the before 9. And I know when I worked in Buckinghamshire, it was Buckinghamshire pass holders got free travel from 9. Out of Buckinghamshire got free travel after 9:30. And then Hertfordshire got confusing because they allowed Hertfordshire pass users free travel 24/7 and then out of area after 9:30. So what you would get if you had a bus that ran from Hertfordshire to Buckinghamshire, people could come in at 8 o'clock in the morning free of charge because they're on what's technically a Hertfordshire bus. That same bus would then go back, and they weren't allowed to travel for free back until 9:30 because they'd been picked up in Buckinghamshire. And there was many an argument over it. Well, I came down there for free. Yeah, but you're in Buckinghamshire now. So yeah, it all gets very confusing. But yeah, they should just roll out the same rule across every single county. And I say right up to Wales. But then just to confuse matters more, there's one bus service that runs from Bristol to Chepstow, so that crosses the Welsh border, and they allow Welsh and English pass holders free travel across the entire route. So you can a Welsh pensioner can go to Bristol, and then they can get on that bus home for free. So I suppose they work on the basis, well, we took you there, so we'll have to take you back.
Yes. Down where I live, it's not from 9:30 to 11 o'clock. But there used to be a certain one who stops on certain routes. The bus used to be at 9:15,
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
next one's at 11:15.
yeah,
So basically, they allowed the 9:15 one to accept the bus.
yeah, yeah. You've got to apply common sense. If you're
Yeah.
running 5 minutes early and you've got someone at the bus stop at 5 to 9, then allow them travel because you shouldn't have been there before 9 o'clock. If you're running on time and you've got someone at the bus stop at 2 minutes to 9, um, attitude comes into play. We used to have one old guy up near Stoke Mandeville Hospital, and what he'd do is he'd put one foot on the bus and he'd sit there talking to you until it hit 9 o'clock, and he did that on purpose. So we used to make sure he didn't travel on that bus. But then there used to be a couple of lovely little old ladies, and they used to get on sort of 3 or 4 minutes before 9, and I used to tell them to sit down, and then when we get to a certain point, come back up and put your pass on the machine. It'll be 9 o'clock then, and as far as anyone's concerned, you've travelled from there. But they were nice people, and when they're nice, you don't mind giving it back to them. But if someone's been a bit of an arsehole, you won't give an inch. So that's how I work it. So,
Well, questions like that is, we were down, as I say, down where I live, it's 9:30.
yeah,
I could get on the bus where the bus went past this bus stop 9:28.
right. What frequency is the bus route?
Hourly.
Hourly. Right, in that case, I would probably, as long as you're all right with me, I would probably let you on at 9:28. I'd tell you to go and sit down.
But
Because
the machine accept my card.
I will accept your card, but you remember it'll still be logged at 9:28. So there's nothing stopping the manager from putting you in the office later on and saying, why are you accepting these cards at 9:28? That's why I tell you to sit down, and when we get to a certain point, come back up. Sorry, bear with me a sec. Sorry, I had a click on the 3D printer. I've had a print. It's a 5-day print, and it's been.
You're just checking, make sure it's still running right.
Yeah, I can see where it's clicking now. This one. That's all right. It's the one I don't care about so much.
Yeah, you want to keep an eye on the long one to keep an eye on it.
No, that's fine. You get, sometimes the nozzle might just block a little bit, and what it'll do is it'll click. But if you let it click too much, it actually jams up and nothing goes through. But the one that's clicking is a 6-hour print. The one that's 5 days, 4 days into a 5-day print, that's actually running perfectly. And I'm really glad it's running perfectly. Yeah, so if you got on my back, if it's an hourly service and you got on 2 minutes before your time, and I don't want it logged on the machine that I've let you on early. So I will just tell you, don't put your card on the machine, just go and sit down, come and see me in about 5 minutes, tap on the machine. If it was a 10-minute service, I'll say, sorry, love, you're going to have to get the next bus. But if it's an hourly service, I mean, right now it's cold and windy. And, you know, if you might be, if you're, I don't know why you have the concession cards. It might be a physical disability. It might be a mental disability. How can I leave you waiting in the cold for another hour, not knowing the consequence of that? But then if you're a total pig, I will happily leave you in the cold for an hour. It works both ways. So, but yeah, common sense, really. And you know, what would you do, Adrian, if you were the driver in your situation? You get on the bus at 9:28. I assume that's the time the bus is due.
It's on its route.
Right, and it is actually not
roughly the time. I can't remember the exact time when it was meant to be being recorded on the time. Either the bus meant pass that bus stop at 9:30.
Right.
And then you might be a minute, 2 minutes early.
Really, the first question you've got to ask, well, not really the first question, but could you get a later bus? Well, if you're a concession card holder, by the nature of the beast, a lot of concession card holders have more doctor's appointments and hospital appointments than someone who isn't a concession card holder. And not all doctors and hospital appointments are set by the patient. They're quite often set by the hospital. So if you're on the bus before your 9:30 or 9 o'clock time, there is a good chance that you offer a medical appointment that's been set by somebody else. It's beyond your control. So the question, can you get a later bus? Without even asking the question, the answer is probably going to be no. If you just
No.
you're getting on the bus at 8:30 to nip down the shops to get a pint of milk, no, you can get a later bus. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I already been on a previous, because where I used to travel, because it was from A to B was £1. Go
Right.
one stop further, used to be £2.40.
Wow. That's a
So I
gem.
used to I used to travel from one stop to the next stop, get off. In the meantime, the next 20 minutes so bus later would pass that stop, which I would hop on that one,
Yeah, I
and
am.
then go into town. So
Yeah,
that's why I ended up catching that particular bus at that particular point.
yeah. But it's I mean, this 2 minute difference thing, it is a bit of an extreme, but it does happen. But it's the answer really is the common sense thing. Like I say, on a cold winter's morning, if I refuse you to travel for the sake of 2 minutes, and your next bus is an hour away, can I sleep at night thinking knowing that I've left you in the cold for an hour? And remember, I don't know why you've got that concession card. It might be that you're a recovering alcoholic, in which case, go on, but it could be that you've got problems where you need to be kept warm. And by turning you away, I've just made those problems even worse. And I would probably never do it with a wheelchair, because anyone in a wheelchair, you could probably walk and warm yourself up, couldn't you? When you're in a wheelchair, that's a lot harder to do.
Yes.
So
Another thing you think about is they need to sort it. If there's no lose round, they're a bit harder to.
Exactly. In fact, they might actually be waiting for your bus so they can get home and go to the toilet. So, wheelchairs kind of slow the rules out a lot. A bit worried about that print, but I'm just gonna let it run and not worry about it. Right. Okay, guys. So, have we got anything else? Oh, I just saw something on my chair. So, everyone's had a good Christmas.
Who's watching it with us at the moment?
How many viewers have we got? Hundreds?
3.
3. Oh, well done. We're doing well there. So, I was going to test a new camera out. I got bought. I feel overwhelmed this Christmas. I've got this Lego R2D2, but I've got I don't like those clicks on my printer, I got a new webcam. I think it's the same one that Chris Campbell. I've got too many things on my wish list. Chris Campbell bought a new webcam, and it was surprisingly good quality for the amount of money that was paid. And I put one on my wish list, and I do genuinely use my wish list as an items list for me to buy. Obviously, if anyone wants to buy anything, I won't stop them. And someone has actually bought me this camera, and I'm kind of desperate to use it. But I got the camera out today, ready to plug in, and now I can't figure out what the hell I've done with it. So it's I will use it. So maybe I'll use it if I can find it for tomorrow. So, do we know what everyone's doing this week for shows?
Well,
We have Chris. Are you streaming on Tuesday? Chris Davies. So, as far as I know, I'm streaming tomorrow for the tractor. I'm not sure how I'm fixed with work. Do you know what? I'm gonna call a decision. The decision I'm gonna call is I'm actually gonna postpone tomorrow's show. And the reason for that is work is a little bit funny at the moment. I might be home at 5 o'clock, but I might have to work really late. So I'm thinking the best thing to do is not do tomorrow's show. If somebody wants to jump in and do a show, that's fine. And then next week, we'll do 2 issues of the tractor. How does that sound? We'll certainly fit in 2 weeks of the tractor next week. I know that's a bit of an on-the-spot decision. I've just got a funny feeling with work. There's some things going on with work, and I know who's on tomorrow night. And I don't want to sort of cast things with the drivers, but I've got a feeling I'm not going to be home early tomorrow. Really strong chance. So sorry, bear with me. I'm still trying to fix this printer. Do you know what? It's clicking away, but it's feeding. So I'm just not going to worry about it. Right. So, yeah. Sorry for the on-spot decision. Yeah, sorry, Chris, I didn't respond earlier on. I'll get that bonnet sorted out for you. So tomorrow, if anyone's streaming, fantastic, because then at least everyone's got something to watch. I've just got a feeling there's a strong possibility I will finish late. So I'm just not going to take the chance. Next week, I will make it clear I'm going to try and get home. So Sunday, I'm streaming with Jason, to be confirmed. I believe that's still on. That'll be the Fiat. The Monday is Chris Campbelling. I don't know if he's streaming over Christmas, but did he stream last week?
Chris Campbelling? I'm not sure.
So I'll oh yes, right. I'm gonna have to chat with you at some point, Chris, but it won't be today. So yeah, Chris Campbelling that's normally when he streams. Tuesday, Chris just said he won't be. He's got nothing to do, plus he's going out. So that leaves Wednesday, which is the Route Master show, and we're going to be doing a New Year quiz for that. So now we did get an issue last week, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
We're going to get an issue. So can we assume we'll get an issue Tuesday?
Could be, yes. So basically, you end up having 3 issues you got to deal with.
Yeah, that'll be fun to catch up, won't it? Let me just check my calendar, because I've got a long weekend coming up, which means that there'll be... Right, so next Wednesday is a normal stream day. So the 8th, I'm going to say I'm going to do 2 issues. And then the 15th, oh God, it's going to get worse and worse. Right, so the 8th will be my last week of the 3. So I'll probably do 2 issues. So that'll bring us down to 2 issues. Then, no, that'll give us 1 outstanding issue. Then the 15th, I won't be streaming because that's my late weeks. And then the 22nd, I'll then have 3 issues to do. So I'll have to do 2 issues. And then the 29th, I'll do 2 issues. And then hopefully by then we'll be caught up. So I'm actually praying now for a driver or a conductor figure to help us do an easy catch up. But so yeah, okay, that's the way it's going to have to go. But I did promise you all a quiz for New Year, so we'll be doing that. I don't think there'll be anything the next Thursday, will there? And then there won't be anything the Friday after. So
Thursday, I wouldn't know because when
what?
Wilder Wayne, when he was going to do a broadcast, he didn't do one because he was out watching. He went to the cinema that night.
Right. I heard that he wasn't going to be streaming anymore on Thursday till the end of the year, although next Thursday will be 2020.
Yeah,
So,
so he could be on us. He could be with that Thursday. We don't know.
well, yeah. Let's see what happens. Right. So, Chris, if I remember rightly, with the speaker, what I'm doing is I'm fixing you up some. Not this one, but I'm going to be doing some connectors for you, aren't I? Because I think that's going to work better with you for the speaker. And then we can do whatever we want with that. So I know I've got your speaker. I actually haven't emptied my bag from when I came round yours. I'll have to soon. I've got to solder up over the next couple of weeks 96 RGB bulbs. Now, RGB bulbs have 4 pins, one for the power, 3 signals, so that they can do red, green, or blue, or whatever colors they are. So 96, I can't even do the maths on that. 96 times 4, and then you've got the other end to solder. So that's 768 solder points just for LEDs over the next few weeks. But I haven't got the Arduino yet to connect them to. Well, I think I've got to crimp them and plug them all in. So, but the guy that I'm doing the project that I'm following, he's actually producing these little light boards already soldered up, and they work out about 20 quid more than it costs you to make it yourself. So I'm thinking I might just buy one for that price, bang an extra day's overtime in. But I've got a couple of people that might want me to build one for them. In fact, I might even, I want to talk to Horlicks actually about making it as a project. So I know I've already built it, but when we finish the tracks, what do you guys think about Star Wars droid? I know there's only a couple of you watching, but a low cost droid for Star Wars, if that would interest anyone. Actually, I've got one I could think of.
Yeah,
So,
I might be interested.
talking of droids, actually, I'm a little bit kicking myself because the droid I'm working on at the moment is a droid called BD1. Now, this droid is, I think it's a new one in a game. It doesn't feature in any of the Star Wars films. It's actually in a computer game. And that game's been out ages. And this guy, Michael Badley, the same guy who's done the R2D2, he's made this droid. Now, about 6 months ago, he did one for, I think it's called Dio, the droid. It's basically it's a wheel with a funnel for a head, and that's it. And it's got like servos and gyros and all sorts in it. And I didn't do it because I'm partway through the R2D2. I didn't want to take another one. I've started the BD1 because it looks absolutely amazing, and it looks a nice simple droid. But what I found out was the film that's come out in the last couple of weeks is it introduces BO, DO, not B. I keep calling him BO. BO is body odor, isn't it? DO. So if I'd have actually built this droid when it first came out with Michael Bagley, I could have walked into the cinema to watch the Star Wars film with a droid that nobody knew what it was. And by the end of the film, everyone's like, oh yeah, that lady had a droid from this film. Because apparently that's what people were doing. They were building these droids and they were taking them in. Some people even took their full-size R2D2s with them to the cinema, and that would have been so cool. So
Probably doing that nowadays, full size ones. Think, no, you can't bring that in.
well, I think I could have taken if I'd have built R2D2, I think I could have taken him to the cinema and then probably pop them in a cupboard or something while the film's on, and then pick them up afterwards. And everyone would have loved that. And I don't know. I think there's opportunities for promotion work. You know, if I rearrange with cinemas, then you know, say, "Oh, come and watch the film on this day and meet R2D2." And you know, I wouldn't want appearance money or anything. Can I talk about something that's complete change of subject? Hang on, I'm this printer's bugging me.
You check the printer.
I don't understand why it's clicking so much. Right, this is a complete change of subject, and it's a charitable thing that I've kind of picked up on. If anybody's heard of Lad Baby, the Lad Baby's brought a song out last year, and he's brought another one out this year about sausage rolls. And the whole point of the song is to raise money and awareness for the trust who run the food banks. Which I've almost used a food bank in the past. I had a lot of trouble with job. I lost my job, and I've been homeless for 5 months. And I discovered this food bank, but I managed to pull myself out of trouble and didn't actually use the food bank. But it's a charity I'd like to get involved with. What I'm thinking about doing. Try and sort of do my own follow-on from Lad Baby. I don't want to do a song. I'm not singing. Trust me. Don't worry about that. I had this idea for a video. I don't know how long it's going to take me to make. What I'd like to do, I'll arrange with the food bank to make, you know, get permissions and everything, but actually go to a food bank as though I'm a genuine user of a food bank, go through all the motions, and then look at what they would present me as a food parcel. I won't take it because I don't feel I'm entitled to, but I'll write down everything, exactly everything they offer me. Then I'll go out and I'll buy that. And I know that'll be a 3-day food package. And then the rest of the video will be what I actually do with that food. Can you actually manage on the food that you get? I know you don't get a choice, you know. Oh, I'd love to have some luxury mince pies and this. Yes, I know it's not what you're going to get, but actually follow it up. So, you know, I might have to have packet soups for my lunch with a bit of toast or something, and see how easy it is to manage on what you get. Is it an absolute basic package? You know, how good is this? You know, and then kind of assess the whole thing. You know, like my summary of food banks is blah, blah, blah. You know, obviously, if you're in dire need, this is someone. And then obviously get some facts and figures and chuck that into the video. Do you reckon that'd make a good video? I'm not necessarily after it going viral, but it's something, you know, like when I know years ago there was a politician, someone had challenged him to live off dole money for a week or a fortnight. And apparently the story goes that he got his like 70 quid to last him a week, and he'd gone out and he'd spent this 70 quid, and the next day he goes, right, okay, I've had me 70 quid, right, it's the next day, can I have my next 70 quid? And they're like, no, that was a week's money. And they're like, what? How am I supposed to manage off that? So I'd like to kind of do something like that with a food parcel. You know, what do you actually get for 3-day parcel, and what can you do with it? Is it easily livable with, or does, you know, I've got my 3 days food, but I've been hungry throughout the day because it's not what I'm used to eating or whatever. Did I enjoy what I got? You know, and how much of a necessity do I think? So that's something I'm thinking about doing.
Yes,
So
it's worth looking into, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. It's just yeah. I mean, if I really do want to get involved with a bit more charity work, and I used to do 1 day a fortnight community driving, and the reason I chose community driving was because I take from the community as a bus driver. The community pays me to drive a bus, and it's just my opportunity just to give a little bit back. That's why I chose community driving, and not, most people can work in a charity shop. Not everybody can do bus driving. So let the people who can work in a charity shop work in a charity shop, and I'll do the driving. But food banks is, poverty is a real thing in this country. And I think what drilled at home was a couple of people I spoke to over Christmas. One lady I'm friends with, she rang me Christmas Day, and she's got 3 disabled kids, and she really couldn't afford to get them much, and she's just really hoping that they enjoy what they got, and she really didn't have a lot to spend on them. And then what made it worse is she's looking after her mother, and because there's no buses Christmas Day, she now has to get a taxi Christmas Day to go and see her mum to look after her. Well, of course, the taxis are all double, triple fare, aren't they? So whereas
Yes.
she was travelling on the buses for free, she's now having to spend 20, 30 quid each way on a taxi. So that's how Christmas has hit her. So for her, Christmas wasn't actually a good thing because there's all this extra expense and all this extra effort. And there's a charity that sends her kids on a holiday every year in the summer for a week, so she gets a bit of a week's respite where she can just sit at home all week and go, oh, So the holiday for her kids does just as much for her as it does for her kids, but there isn't really much that helps her at Christmas time. And I kind of sit here and I think, I've been buying myself nice things, and I've got all of this, and I go out and I work, and working Boxing Day for me was a choice. It really I wouldn't have gone bankrupt if I didn't work. And I think I always say, like, I was made homeless a few years back, and I try not to forget that. And I realize how lucky I am. And I think the last 4 or 5 years of working in a fairly well-paid job, maybe I'm starting to just forget the things from the past. So I need a little bit of a wake-up call. So I think that's the one that's a little bit close to home. And I know I won't mention names because I don't want the potential embarrassment, but I know one person who gave me a Christmas present. I know it was a struggle for them. I know it's not just, they'd love to buy me really expensive presents, but they just really can't. And I feel really overwhelmed to have got the present I got. I mean, I really do genuinely appreciate it, but I appreciate it even more because I know that I won't say difficulty. I'm trying to pick the right words here. But I know that they can't afford to buy me like a £300 present, but they would if they could, And they have their own lives to deal with. So, and I kind of forget. I think I forget sometimes, and that not everyone has it as easy as everyone else. So anyway, I'm waffling on far too much now, aren't I?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's end the show.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for watching. If you lasted this time.
Yeah, if I haven't put you off.
So
Right.
it's good night from.
Yeah. So thanks for watching, everybody. It's been another great show. And as far as Terminator concerned, I will see you in 2 weeks.
That's if I get 2 issues in time.
Yeah, you will do.
Yes.
Keep the
Good night,
faith.
all.
Take care, guys.
Goodbye, all.